Hi, Patrick here. Half Cheetah will view. It is time for Dollar Tree Theater. So Dollar Tree Theater is a ongoing series that we do, whereas we get a movie under $1.25 or less, and we talk about it and review it. And it can come from anywhere, any source at all, as long as you paid $1.25 or less. So I have put, I have always do. Folks can vote for the movie that me and the Cheetah will watch, and the Cheetah's choice is when so that's what you guys pick too. You guys can have a choice to, if you don't like the three movies I throw up there, you can pick me and the Cheetah to watch a movie and talk about it. So that's what we did. We're running a little late. We haven't done one of these in a minute, so we're going to catch up. So I thought this would be very charming to talk about. I have not seen this movie. I've had it for quite a while. I got this for $1 at Family Video. And some of you might be chuckling, but this is the movie that me and the Cheetah decided to talk about today. And we're talking about a Hallmark movie. This is called Remember Sunday. And this is a Hallmark Hall of Fame movie. This is from 2013 and was released in 2018. Now, this is something that Hallmark's actually been doing, whereas a lot of companies are actually retreating from releasing physical media. Not only is Hallmark releasing physical media, but they're going back to their old catalogs and they're releasing the older movies. So this movie got its release 5 years after it aired. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Think about it. We're getting less releases from Disney and Netflix and whatnot, but Hallmark is actually a company that's actually putting them out. So this is Remember Sunday. The stars Alexis Bledel from Gilmore Girls, Sin City, and Zachary Levi. You might remember him from Chuck, or better yet, you might remember him from the Shazam movie, which is the second one will be coming out in 2023. Black Adam just got released, and I'm sure that we'll be seeing Zachary Levi and The Rock meeting somewhere down the line. So let me talk about this movie, the plot a little bit off the plot, and then we'll talk about the movie itself. So the synopsis says here, a lonely waitress played by Alexis Bledel becomes intrigued by a handsome jewelry store clerk played by Zachary Levi, who's lost his short-term memory. Since every day is a brand new one for him, their touching, fun romance becomes about life's possibilities when we love in the moment. That's a pretty good way of putting this. So let's get into this. So Zachary Levi plays he plays a gentleman named Gus, and yes, he works at a jewelry store, and he has suffered where he can't retain his short-term memory. He had a brain aneurysm, and it wiped out his frontal lobe, his hippocampus. So he is unable to retain short-term memories. His memories he can remember all the way up to when he had his aneurysm, but after that, every single day, it's like a brand new day. And so when we meet him, his whole apartment area is covered. Think of Memento. Think of Memento, where the gentleman wrote his hand. He wrote notes all over his body because he was really reliving the same day. Well, it'll sort of like the same thing for Gus. He has to write down, the city that he's in. There's a pamphlet that says "Read me first," which tells him what happened to him. So he has to live basically every day through notes. And he has a recorder that he has to carry with him so he can keep track of everything that happened to him during that day. And then he plugs it into his computer at night, and it keeps a log for him. So every day he gets up and goes for a jog. He runs. Everybody knows him, but he doesn't know them, even though he sees them every day. He goes to a restaurant, and he runs into Molly, who played by Alexis Bledel, and Molly is just she's a bit of a mess. She's in a really bad relationship that's not really working out. She's basically a starving student. She's so far behind on all her bills. She just has bad luck. Everything. Her car gets booted. Her roommate. She's got a hell of a roommate. I liked her roommate. Um, and she's been hoping to get an inheritance, a split an inheritance. An aunt left the house, and they're supposed to be selling it and splitting it, and that would make things much easier for her. But her her aunt's daughter has held it up, so it's a really struggle for her. So so basically, that's they're both two people, good people, but they're just having a hard time in life. Well, Molly works at a little diner when she's not in school, and that's how she meets Gus. And Gus is dictating into his little recorder, and and they meet really cute. And then in fact Molly even leaves a little message for him in his little recorder, and so they initially they get together. They get together. They meet really cute and they get together. And but the thing is though is that Gus forgets. So the next day he gets up and he has to. If there's not notes there, he's forgotten. In fact, goes over to see Molly after he misses a date with her, their first date. He goes over to her apartment and he's talking. He thinks that the roommate is Molly. And of course, Molly comes in from behind and sees that, and she's a little frustrated by that. She's, but he tells her how he's very sincere of how sorry he is, and then he apologizes. He brought her fresh flowers, and he really apologizes, and then he leaves, and then but Molly follows him, and then they sort of, I don't say the understanding, but they do connect, and they decided to go on a date. And so it's a real struggle, but Gus actually sort of manages to hold it together. But of course, his sister and his best friend, they keep telling him that he has to tell Molly what happened to him. Because it's very strange that the fact that every day it's a struggle for him to remember who she is. It's like seeing her for the first time every single day. And unless he explains that to her, it's going to be really difficult. We also find out that Gus, even though he works at a jewelry store, is not a jewelry clerk. In his past life, he was a brilliant mind. He was a world-class scientist, a geophysicist, so to speak. And uh, it's he wrote books. He was a speak. We see everything that he had done in his life up to his aneurysm, and he was famous. And and of course, that's all gone now. In a sense, he can't remember. Only up to a certain point. He keeps trying to work on his book and a theory, but it's a real struggle for him. Well, he tries to explain to Molly what's going on with him, but before he can fully explain it, she sees the recorder and realizes that he's been recording everything they said and done. As far as vocally goes, and it is a little unnerving. I thought initially that she overreacted to that, but I'm going like, maybe not so much. And she got a little bit freaked. She got freaked out big time, and she breaks it. She breaks this recorder, and I didn't like that. But she's freaked out, so she runs out of the house, and then which has really could cause Gus a lot of stress because he was trying to cover for it until he could explain to her about what was going on, and that included removing all his notes around his apartment. So his friend and his sister would have to come back over there and restore that. Soon after that, Gus has an incident where his equipment gets destroyed because of a careless neighbor fell asleep while running the bathtub. So the water comes through his roof and it destroys a lot of his equipment, and that sends him to the hospital. And then the sister tells Molly what's going on, what's Gus's story and why it's very, very hard because he can't remember anything. He just can't. Um, well, Molly does some research and she comes up with a medical plan. There's a bright new surgery that has possibilities that could help Gus. And so she takes him out to California to see his old colleagues. She meets his ex fiance, um, who was pretty cold actually. And she says, I didn't leave him so much, but I couldn't stay with him in this condition because I want to have a life, I want to have kids, I want to get married, and that wouldn't be possible with Gus. So you could understand that. Um, and then when they go back, the sister takes Molly aside, after she hears about the medical procedure and tells her that Gus had already had that surgery 2 years ago and it didn't work. So there's not very much of a chance for Gus at all, and her and Gus at all. And Gus had made her promise that if the surgery didn't work, that to Molly to basically, ease out of his life so she could have a life of her own. I gotta tell you, and the movie does not have a happy ending. I mean, it has a slightly hopeful one, but it's not a happy ending. This is a very sad story, quite honestly. Very emotional. It's very touching. Um, just yeah, it's a brilliant movie. Well acted, and you just feel so sad for everybody in this film. Um, Gus, Molly, the roommate, the sister, the best friend. Um, it's a tragic story. There's no Hallmark ending, and that shouldn't be quite a. That shouldn't, and I really, it really works. It really works. This story was actually written, uh, co-written by one of the authors was Barry Morrow, who actually co-wrote the story. And Barry Morrow he wrote the story for he wrote the story and the screenplay for the Oscar-winning movie Rain Man. So this is, like I said, this is not your typical Hallmark movie. This is one of those that's called a Hallmark Hall of Fame. This is where the budget's a little bit bigger and the stars a little bit bigger, and obviously the stories are much bigger too. This is an excellent movie. In fact, if you didn't put the Hallmark, if I didn't tell you it was Hallmark, if I just told you it was just a story, and I didn't put that attached to it, you would be intrigued enough to go look it up. And I hope that you do now, because this is a brilliant movie, beautifully acted. Uh, it'll warm your heart, it'll break your heart, and maybe at the very end leave you just a little bit hopeful. The question is asked, can you fall in love with somebody every single day? Yeah, I think you can. Uh, and I think this story shows that. This movie is rated rated G. Has 97. It has a runtime of 97 minutes, and this release has no special features on it, none. But this is a brilliant movie. I can't tell you enough. This is our first time watching it. We've had it for a while, but today, being overcast and cloudy, it seemed like the perfect day to talk about a Hallmark movie for Dollar Tree Theater. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. I want to thank you guys for watching it. Let me know what you think. I mean, Zachary Levi and Alexis Bledel are really two very good actors. Like I said, she did Gilmore Girls, she did Sin City, he did Shazam, and he also starred in a very fun series on NBC called Chuck. Um, yeah, drop a comment down below. If you're new to the channel, you can we do Dollar Tree Theater once a week. If you like what you heard, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, and then leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite Hallmark movie is. Yeah, that's what you guys can do. Just drop down, tell me a movie that you've watched on the Hallmark channel that's really moved you. And I know I'm not going to get any Christmas movies out of that, which is fine because I have to tell you, I got to tell you this. I watch a lot of those Christmas movies. I like those Christmas movies, but I really miss these type of movies that the channel puts out. They used to put out some seriously really good movies, heartfelt movies, and they didn't churn them out just based on a conveyor belt. These are movies like this one movie and the other movie I talked about called The Christmas Train. They're both examples of what Hallmark is capable of putting out. Really solid family films. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with another 3 movies plus a Cheetah's Choice. I'm going to be putting that on my community tab. Go over there. Feel free to vote. Vote and vote often. All right. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.